Okay. Good morning, guys.
Good morning.
Yep.
Morning.
So, Gurmeet, we have 97, is it? Coming in?
89.
89, okay. The rest, they got the link, but they are not CTOS's
Yeah.
subscribers, yeah? So we are not allowing them to come in, yeah? This is exclusively for people who are subscribers of CTOS, right? And we have specific objectives for them for this win-win negotiation program today. Winnie, are you going to ask them what are their goals or what do they want to get out of this webinar today? So that you have
Yes, I'm going to ask them what they want to learn.
Yeah, okay. Or you can ask them what are some of the pressing issues or problems when it comes to this. What do you want to gain out of? Because when they record it in the chat box, we have a lot of data, you know. So then you know what are the real issues or concerns of the SMEs.
Okay.
So when you during the whole talk, then you can tailor it to such a way that they might need to come for a full day program online though, to understand fully lah. So you can start right from the very beginning to 买了嘢咗, you have 1 hour. All these are SMEs. I think they are mid SMEs lah. Eco, wellness, ICT zone, Highsales, steel, station. I don't know how much is the sales. I suppose it's like anything from 15 to 50 million lah. I look at the I just guess only. What do you think? Medical maybe 50 million. Not sure. STEM life Berhad, I think quite a bit lah.
STEM life
they sell the stem cells stuff, you want to regenerate or rejuvenate. Probably anything from 10 to 50 million, I suppose. I'm not sure. Maybe CTOS has got the anyway, you encourage them to talk. I'm sure they won't talk. Depends on the group lah, actually. I think they're more senior group. So you can ask them to turn on their camera so that you know you're talking to somebody. At the end of the program, we encourage them to open up all the cameras so that we can take a group photo together.
Yeah, I think that would be good.
Yeah, and you can tell that you can also share with them that you have constant what do you call that, updates on what's happening and how can you gain the skills, especially now. This is the second lockdown. It's quite obvious. We already know after the first lockdown, we already know the second one is coming, but now it's coming sooner than you thought. So are you prepared or not, with a BCP plan? And in the event, your location is locked down or your business is locked down, what are you going to do about it? So if it's a downtime, it would be good to actually gain more knowledge and upgrade your skills.你搞掂啦，我而家 online 咗噶啦吓，你揸車。
Okay, can.
搞掂你知咯。其實我喺架車上啊。我在
上你車啊？
對啊。
Okay.
Gurmeet 也会听华语了，我在车上。
Gurmeet, you know Chinese
我可以听华语跟广东话。
You're from Chinese school or what?
No, Mandarin I learned from kindergarten itself. Then Cantonese now when I start joining CTOS, everybody speaks Cantonese, so I managed to catch up really. I cannot speak, but I can understand.
You're the language talents lah.
Yeah.
Even for me, Chinese, I try to learn Hokkien, so difficult.
So you went to a kindergarten, but you didn't go to the primary school for Chinese, is it?
I managed to go to the primary.
Okay.
But amazing, Chinese, because Chinese is not an easy language to learn. It's difficult.
I catch it up during kindergarten, and then I knew how to speak. Then my mom was like, "Let's not waste it." So then I went to a private teacher to the
I
private label.
see, I
That was
see,
my
I
Ah,
see. Okay,
yeah.
okay. You put a lot of banana Chinese into shame. Yeah,
他
oh,
的
my
小
nephew
名
cannot
啊，
speak. Oh, my nephew cannot
哦，
speak Mandarin.
Sorry.
嗯，
他的 Gurmit 的小名叫小米，
对，
小米，
小米。
米。
So I will introduce you, Winnie. I will say
Can.
how many years of experience in the corporate and also in the negotiations field.
20 years negotiation still is whole life. We
Whole
negotiate
life lah,
since
of
the
course.
we negotiate, since the day we can talk, right?
Yeah, whole life in don't tell the age lah. Only 28
Yeah.
years old. About
Since the day we can talk.
25 years of corporate experience. Is that
Yeah.
the right amount? Yep.
20,
So
probably 20 years, yeah, about 23 years to be exact.
23 years. Yeah. Okay.
Before I joined trainings, yeah.
Yeah. So we have to thank CITOS on behalf to organize and give this benefit, yeah, to the CITOS subscriber. Okay, Ira says we are live now, so we can actually let people in already, right? It's about 9 o'clock. Yeah,
Yeah,
Ira.
it's 28 people.
Yeah, Ira, is it okay if you allow people to come in? So we talk to the early birds first. We have we don't nobody admit. I just admit them. Okay. So it's a very good morning today to everyone. Thank you for logging in. We have about 100 people coming in, so we are letting him coming in now. So if you're just coming on, get ready. You can turn on your camera or turn off your microphone. When you need to speak, then you can turn on your microphone. Yeah. Good morning, everyone. How are you doing today? Thank you for logging in. This is Sue Boy from itrainingexpert. Together with me, we have the CITOS representative, Ms. Gurmit, and our astute and respectable speaker today, Winnie Chu. And also we have a host technical support at the back. If you need any assistance, I hope if you're online already, I'm sure you don't need too much of assistance. Yeah. You need to know how to use the chat and you need to know how to use the poll, because later on we will actually launch a poll for you. And after that, you can fill up the questions or you can answer the questions so that we have an idea what exactly do you want to get out of this 1 hour seminar. Oh, we have Professor Dr. Azarism with a few people. Hello, thank you for logging in. Yeah. And there is a chat box here. You can tell us, you can just type to us and say hello and who you are. We will be using a lot of the chat box. If you have any questions or anything, put in the chat box, then we'll be able to read out, right? Let's see.
Good morning, everyone.
Yeah. So if you're online already and you're muted, you can actually use the reaction button that says good or clap or love or, a celebration thing. So that to indicate that you are, oh, okay, sales from niche. Actually put a hand clap for us. Thank you very much for responding. The rest of you, you can click, put a hand clap, yeah, to have some reaction so that we know that all of you are in. Okay, it's about, my clock says 9:36 already. So we have an hour, I think, 9:30 to 10:30 to have an interesting seminar, which is entitled Win-Win Negotiation. So without further ado, I think we will just go ahead, introduce today's astute speaker. First of all, before that, I would like to thank CITOS on behalf for actually organizing this, actually giving you the opportunity as a subscriber of CITOS to actually come to this seminar. We have online with us Miss Winnie Chu. She is a very experienced speaker who has 25 years of solid corporate experience. Yeah, under her belt, she has got 400 million sales with her whole sales team, and she was the last position she was holding was the director of a very big and #1 pharmaceutical company, corporate company. Yeah, big company from the UK. So she has got her whole host of experience because she started from the bottom right after the sales as a sales rep, all the way up to the director position. So it will be an honor to actually learn as much as possible from her. And also, this is your opportunity. Winnie says good morning to all of you. Yeah, if you could respond, that would be excellent, instead of just sitting there and listening, because this is not a radio channel. Yeah, this is a interactive seminar meant specially for CTOS subscribers, and you were the selected ones. Okay.
Good morning, everyone.
Yep.
Hi, this is Winnie here. While waiting
Yeah.
for the rest of the participants to join the call, I would encourage those of you who are already in the call, right, to type in things that you would like to learn from this 1 hour negotiation training. Yeah.
Yeah. Tell us what you would like to cover, or what you like to get out of this 1 hour seminar.
Yeah,
or
because 1
webinar,
hour is
actually.
quite short, right? You know, if you
Exactly.
can share with me what are some of your concerns or what you would like to learn, I will try to find ways, you know, to address that. Yeah.
Yeah. Winnie has got packed with a lot of information for you, but anyway, it depends very much on what do you want to get out of it. Daniel Tan say good morning. Lim Ji Kyung, good morning to you. CK Tan, good morning. So without further ado, I think we will just go ahead and start it.
Untuk game break.
Yeah,
Ini
if,
dengan
you can mute yourself. Yeah, mute yourself if you're not asking any questions. Joyce Liu say good morning. Thank you very much for coming in, logging in. Winnie, back to you.
Okay,
Yeah,
hi, good morning, everyone. Right, so we shall start the session now. Okay, today's session is 1 hour win-win negotiation. As I mentioned, 1 hour is actually quite short, right? It's only 60 minutes. And I will try to focus on those key areas of negotiations that I think every negotiator should be aware about. And before I start, right, I just want to share a little bit about, you know, my take about negotiations. Negotiation is actually an essential life skill. I would say not only business skill, but it's life skill. Because we negotiate, right, since the day we got right? You know, we don't even, we negotiate when we were young, you know, with our siblings who sit at the window seat in the car. We negotiate with teacher for grades, you know. And later on, when we come to workforce, we negotiate what? With bosses for salary, we negotiate with colleagues for resources. And in business, we also negotiate with clients, especially now with the coronavirus now. The business situation is getting very tough. And I'm sure a lot of you are facing the challenges of negotiating with your clients. Maybe it be internal or external client. There's a lot of negotiations going on, right? Take, for example, if you're a financial controller, right, you're supposed to control in terms of all the credit terms, everything. But you will have salespeople or you have your colleagues, you know, to constantly come and ask you, hey, my client can't pay, right? They negotiate for a longer term, or they negotiate to pay, you know, lesser. So this kind of negotiation scenario is getting more intense in current situation. So I think it's a right time for everyone to pick up this essential skill. Okay, in this 60 minutes, right, this is the learning path that I have set. Number one is I want to have a clear alignment on what is win-win negotiations. Because if you look at in the markets, right, there's a lot of negotiation skill training. There are some you tell you that, you know, you win all the way, right? There are some is a win-win. There are some is on sales negotiations, you know. So what I want to focus is the framework that you can use in every situation that allow you to win, and as well as the other party, the counterpart, you walk away with satisfaction. So it's a win-win situation. It can apply in sales. It can apply in non-sales situations, okay? And I'm going to share with you the top 3 tips to be a successful negotiator from my experience. I think number 1 is you have to prepare and plan well. So exactly what you need to plan. I'm going to highlight 3 key things that you need to plan. Then the other 2 are the important aspect of asking questions. How are you going to ask good questions during negotiations? And the third one is how can you be creative and explore options to help yourself to move out from the deadlock. And the last part is actually on the bargaining side, you know. And a lot of times people told me that they are very afraid to bargain, right? So they end up giving too much. And it is not a satisfactory outcome for that person. So I'm going to touch on conditional trading and the concept behind it and how are you going to give and take during the negotiations. So before I go into my slide, I would like to ask the groups, what are some of the key challenges that you face in negotiations, right? Can you give me a response either through the chat group or you can share, by speak out. Okay, guys, anyone would like to share? I know it's early in the morning, right? But the best way to attend any training, any meeting is being participative and ask questions or share your inputs. Yeah. Okay, guys, can you type in the chat groups, what are some of the key challenges, especially in today's situations? Yeah, during this financial crisis, coronavirus, pandemics. Okay, Jane, I see you put there not being able to meet the needs of both parties. Okay, thank you for sharing that. Any others? Okay, while waiting for you all to type, right, let me share with you on my key challenges in negotiations, right, that I face. And I find the toughest negotiation is to actually negotiate with people that you have ongoing relationship with. For example, your colleagues, right? Because if you got to negotiate with your, let's say, your colleagues, right, your another, let's say for marketing people, you need to negotiate with the sales people. These are ongoing relationships. So if you do not handle that negotiation well, it may hurt the relationships. You see now. So I find the key challenges is actually how are you going to negotiate in a way that the relationship can be preserved. Yeah. Not knowing expectation of both parties. Okay, very good. Lack of rapport to negotiate. I think these are very good things that you have put down in the chat groups, because in negotiations, right, if you go smoother, if there is some trust and rapport already ongoing. So in my negotiation training in the 2-day sessions, we're also going to cover in terms of how you will build rapport right from the beginning. Yeah. No intention and have a nego discussion, who have no intention. I think, Brian, you put in a very interesting point. Have no intention, but have a nego discussions. So, okay, I need to know a little bit more in terms of what you mean by no intention. Because you see, for any negotiations, right, there are certain criteria for negotiation to take place. For example, the minimum criteria is both parties have some interest for things to happen. Okay, so if your clients completely will have no interest, right? So if they are in the nego or in the discussion, it could be a small screen. And this has happened very, very often in sales. Because for my background, I used to be a corporate sales director, so I deal with a lot of clients and I know. And sometimes, especially commercial people, they make some confusion between selling and negotiate. So I have people, my participant post me a case study and say, hey, I wanted to negotiate with this client, but my client are telling me this, giving me so much of objection. So I told the person, I said, look, you will need to identify, is it a selling problem? Have you sold the idea that they are interested, or is it a negotiation problem? Negotiation is when they have certain interest, they would like the deal to go on, but the keyword is but, there needs certain conditions to take place. That is when negotiation to come in, right? So I think important thing, knowing the difference between sales and negotiations. Client not sincere and open. Okay, very good. Okay, Daniel, I will take down your comment. Client not sincere and open, right? I will talk a little bit about that, later on. Yeah. Okay. Alvin mentions that, securing a sales order, a contract, the clients have closer relationship with the other party. This one is very interesting. We have to go back into a certain selling aspect, right? Always looking at the interest of the party is very important. I'm going to touch on it, right? I want to spend a bit more time on interest later on then. Okay, Ginger have mentioned other party never give away until they get what they want, which is not acceptable for us, to us. Okay, I'm going to cover that as well. We are going to talk about BATNA, right? How are you going to protect yourself from getting unacceptable deals, right? So I think, guys, I have a quite a good understanding in terms of the challenge that you are facing. And those challenges that you're facing are not alone. It's very, very common. And we are going to address, some of these issues in this 1 hour. If not, then you can actually join more extended sessions on the negotiations, right? So, okay, let me just go back at the fundamental. What is negotiation? Negotiation is actually a process by which two or more parties with both conflicting and compatible goals voluntarily seek to reach agreement or decision. So if we look at the keywords that are highlighted, negotiation have to happen when there's two or more parties, number one criteria. Number two criteria is they both have conflicting and complementary goals. What does that mean? It means that, let's say, for example, just now, who was giving that example? Okay, Ryan, just now you mentioned the client have no intention to have a nego and discussions. So you need to assess, right? Does the client really want this deal or not? Let's say you're selling a product, using simple example, you're selling this product. This client really interested in this product, right? When they have some interest, they have a compatible goal. I want this deal to go on, right? But there are another part which is conflicting interest. Maybe the pricing is not right. Maybe the quantity is not right, okay? And maybe the delivery schedule is not right. Maybe there's certain aspect of your product that I don't like, right? So when that happens, this is where conflicting and compatible goals are happening at the same time, then you're in a negotiation, right? And the goal is we want to reach agreement and decision that both parties can be agreeable. So let me ask you also, what is the difference between conflict as well as negotiation? In my class, there are some participants ask me this question. What's the difference between conflict and negotiations? Anyone? Right. Okay, let me share with you. The difference is negotiation, conflict is basically both parties, right? They have differences, okay? They have competing goals. That is conflict. So when there is a conflict, this is where you need to negotiate. Negotiation is basically a process of give and take, right? To resolve the conflict. So in short, negotiation is a process to resolve conflicts. So when we talk about win-win negotiation, it means this. It means at the end of the negotiation, we want both parties walk away with a satisfaction that you're happy, I'm happy. And the second thing is it has to be an efficient process. Efficient process, that is very productive, and as well as, it can save the relationship, right? It helps to build relationship as well, build trust. And this is where I term, win-win negotiation. Not only achieving the outcome, but achieving outcome in a time-efficient way, in a way that we preserve the relationship. Now, okay, I would like to ask the next one question to get the participations. I'm going to launch a pool. I want you to think about the decision that you have made last year. What percentage of your decision that you are making with others, okay? That you make the decision that involve others. Okay, I'm launching the pool now. Can you select your answer? You see, we make decisions with people all the time. From as small as where to have lunch now, right, later on, okay? To negotiate on your department budget, negotiate on your salary, to negotiate on even who go on leave during Chinese New Year. These are very common. You also negotiate with your wife, who is going to do the cooking, who is going to do the cleaning. I negotiate with my kids all the times, right? Okay, so we have, we're still waiting for people to work. Okay, for those who have not voted, can you just quickly click the answer? We have 60% of the people who voted. Okay. Okay. Okay, so guys, this is the answer, right? It shows that 66% of the 66% of the participants say that we make decision with others 50% of the time. So this is quite a high percentage, which is common, right? Certain of my training group, they say 70% of the time they make decision with others. That shows that it is really, really an essential skill that you must have. And sometimes in corporates, when we need to negotiate with different department head or with our colleagues, we sometimes hesitate. We are thinking about, hey, do we want to go and talk to the counterpart? If if the negotiation doesn't go well, it may hurt the relationship. But think about it. If you do not negotiate when you need to negotiate, you're going to end up what? You're going to end up with not getting the outcomes that you're looking at. And sometimes in business, it could be very damaging. Think about it, right? If I am facing a customer, if I'm from the sales team or customer service team, when there's a customer request that coming forward, right, that required me to negotiate with my finance department, with my logistic department. If I'm afraid about negotiations, I end up not making the necessary negotiation. Who is going to suffer? The business is going to suffer. And sometimes in the worst situation, it may affect your company long-term revenue because people do not want to negotiate. Best idea may not be implemented. And it may affect your profit margins. Why? Because when your people are not negotiating, right, your customer may not be happy because maybe certain things can be done, but just because of not bringing forward, it ends up, not having the best outcome for that particular situations. So the point that I'm trying to make is, a lot of the times we make decisions with others, and that need negotiation skill. Okay. Now, right, knowing how important it is, I would like you to share with us how comfortable do you feel in negotiating with others, especially in workplace. 10, it means I'm very comfortable, right? When there's a negotiation, I'm not afraid. I will just go in and I just going to tell the counterpart what I want and negotiate. Well, 1 is I feel very uncomfortable, right? If I can avoid, I would like to avoid, okay? Just share with me what is your take on this. Okay. Okay, can you give your response? Okay. Okay, there's still a few more people have not voted. Okay, I'm going to close the poll probably in 30 seconds. So if you have not voted, please vote now. Okay, so guys, this is the result, from about 50 people here. So there are 10% of people vote very comfortable, excellent. 36% of the people vote right 7 to 9, in terms of comfort level, which is also great. And there are 55% of the people that voted 6 and below. And this is the group, right, I will probably urge, you look into the process of negotiations because you've got to be comfortable, right? You've got to score higher than 7 because in business, we need to negotiate, not only for our own benefit, you see, but it's also for the benefit of the organizations and for the revenue, for the profit margin, like I mentioned before. Because when you do not negotiate, right, somehow good ideas may not put forward and they may not get the best outcome for the organizations. Okay. Okay. Thank you for sharing that. So now, why many people, why there are 50% of these people mentioned that, you know, they do not feel comfortable in negotiations, or less comfortable this way, less comfortable. And this is from what I get, you know, from all of my participant groups. A lot of times people feel negotiation is intimidating. Why is it intimidating? Because they feel that, look, I do not like to negotiate with people that I don't like. Maybe I don't like certain people. Every time I see that person, you know, my temperature go up, right? You know, that's why I don't like to negotiate with that person. It could be because I don't like to upset other people. Because negotiation, that means sometimes you need to assert yourself, right? You know, you need to put your positions forward and assert it, and they don't feel comfortable with it. Or there are some people told me that, look, I feel very stressed when I go into negotiations, okay? Because I always ended up losing. Common, right? Yeah. And there also people feel that, you know, they do not like to go into the negotiation because they always get lost in the process, right? They lost, you know, their objectivity and end up giving too much, okay? So it is common. Negotiation can be intimidating because it's confrontational, right? As I mentioned, the definition of negotiation, you have conflicting goal. You want something, the other person also wants something. So this something could be conflicting, right? So it's confrontational, and people's feelings can be hurt along the way. And at times there's also can be a lot to lose, right? That's why it's not surprising that, you know, in workplace, there are people who try to avoid in negotiation. And this also boils down in your nature, your characters. That's why in negotiation, it's also important for you to analyze your own negotiation style. We are not going to cover in these sessions negotiation style, because once you understand your negotiation style, right, you are able to adjust your behavior based on the situation. Your awareness is going to be there. So when people feel uncomfortable, feel intimidating in the negotiations, it's because they are
Narrator
actually
dialogue. Okay. Button.
Yeah.
Alt plus O. Alert. Alert. Heads up.
Hello?
Exiting narrator.
Do you hear the voice? There's some interruptions. Okay.
I think maybe somebody's
Okay.
PC was on muted. Yeah.
Okay, so I think if you can, you know, mute your mic. Right. Okay, so let me go back to this slide. People feel uncomfortable because what they are experiencing is actually called positioning bargaining, right? This is one type of negotiation discussion. What it means is basically a negotiation strategy that involves holding a fixed idea, a position of what you want and argue for it and alone, regardless of their underlying interest. You know, a simple example for you to see is when you go to Pasar Malam, okay, right? When you go to Chichongkai, you know, the Chinatown, when you negotiate for the goods, you always go all the way out, you know, and try to negotiate with the seller. Very hard, okay? And what that is actually positioning bargaining is basically pushing the other party to give in, right? Without understanding the underlying interest. And that is why people feel stressed, people feel intimidating during the negotiation. So let me illustrate this with a graph, okay? In bargaining, positioning bargaining, let's say you have two parties, A and B. A is person maybe want to sell the idea, B is person want to buy, okay? In position bargaining, you are moving up and down along the line. It's a fixed pie. There's no value added. It's a fixed pie. That means if I get more, you get less. Think about it. If A will get more at this y-axis here, and B will definitely get less. If B get more at the x-axis, A will get less. So that's why in bargaining, it's based on position. I want this and you want that. Example, I want a higher price, you want a lower price. It's conflicting, and this is based on position, and this is based on view. I want this, okay? But negotiation, it doesn't have to be that way. In win-win negotiations, we have one key concept, that is negotiation is not a fixed pie, right? The pie can be expanded, that you can get more, I can get more. But how are we going to do that? This is win-win negotiation. Win-win negotiation, it involves few things. It involves offers, interest, and options. Okay, what does that mean? In win-win negotiation, that is, our goal is there will be a give and take. We want to expand the pie. And how are we going to expand the pie? By through give and take offer. Interest, understand what you want, understand what I want, and then we come up with options. We create options, right? That's why the pie will get bigger. At the end of the day, we do not have to go negotiate along this fixed pie, right? When the pie expanded, you get more, I get more. This is where, we can move away with deadlock, and we can end up with more satisfaction negotiations outcome, right? So remember this concept. In win-win negotiation, it's not a fixed pie, okay? Win-win negotiation, it involves three things. We make offer, give and take. We identify the interest, right? What is the interest behind or what you want? And we explore options. We're being creative so that we come up with creative solutions, okay? Any question on this? Because this is an important concept, right? It is not a fixed pie. So negotiation is a process skill, right, guys? Right, this is very important, right? Negotiation is a process because it involves two things. It involves negotiation planning into negotiation execution, right? So it depends on the scope of your negotiation and the extent of your negotiations, on how much you do your planning, okay? Take, for example, if I got to negotiate with a client, to sell a contract of 5 years, okay, to sell a contract of 5 years, and that will involve a lot of preparation. And that preparation time, it could be 80% versus the actual negotiation, the meeting could be 20% of the time, okay? So negotiation planning is involved a few things here. You need to think about what is our negotiation goal and their negotiation goal. You need to consider your counterpart as well, both sides. You think about your own, you think about your counterpart. What is both party interest? Or what are the options that we can look at, right? So when we talk about options, we talk about give and take. So what can you give? What can you take? All these things you have to prepare. And what is our versus their power, right? You also need to do a position, a power analysis, okay? So all these things is negotiation planning. So simple thing, even though you want to negotiate with your boss for salary increase, you want to negotiate with your staff, on who goes on Chinese New Year leave or Hari Raya leave, okay? You also can go through similar kind of planning. But as I mentioned, the time depends on how big is the school. Then when it comes to negotiation execution, this is referring to the face-to-face, right? When you negotiate in the process of communicating with the counterpart. It involves 4 processes. The first process, the first stage is entry. When you go in the negotiation, how are you going to build your rapport, build your relationship? I think just someone of you mentioned about building relationship and rapport. That is the first phase at the entry part. The second part is on the explore. Explore is basically you're asking questions to find out what is the interest behind the other party, find out things that you don't know, okay? So that you can better strategize or adjust your strategy during the negotiation. Only after you explore, to be clear on all the information on the table, understand the other party, then you go into bargaining. Bargaining is involved give and take. And of course, the last one is the close. So this is negotiation process. And a lot of time people go in negotiation doing not sufficient planning, okay? Right? So now let me go into the top 3 tips of successful negotiations, okay? And tips number 1 is, as I mentioned, planning is very important. Be prepared. You have to plan, okay? And if you are talking about major negotiation going on, like for example, negotiate with your regional, with your headquarter for budget, okay, for 2021. Negotiate for with your customer for a 3 years contract. If you are selling FMCG product, you want to negotiate with your products listing, okay. All these are major negotiations. You may need to spend as much as 60 to 80% of the time on the planning, okay, right. But of course, you are talking about smaller negotiations, like negotiation for what you call additional accounts, right? The negotiation planning can be like 50%, and conducting can be negotiation. But in general, the point that I'm going to highlight to you is preparation is very important. So there are 3 pieces of negotiation information you should have before you start. You need to have this, okay, to guide you along the negotiation journey. Number first is, what is your negotiation goal? What do you want to achieve in the negotiation? You need to be very, very clear with your goal, okay? And why? Because your goals will help you keep focused, will help you to keep flexible, and at the same time, by being very clear with your goal, you can formulate your strategy, okay? Your strategy is from the information that you have, right? Then you build into your information, you build into your strategy. Then from there, you can be creative in terms of how to put forward your, how to execute your strategy, right? And what are some of the options? Let me just give you a quick example here. For example, if I want to get additional marketing budget, okay, for 300K, by July, that is my negotiation goal. It has to be specific, measurable. It has to be smart. Smart means specific, measurable, achievable, and with a timeline, okay? So think about it. Once I clear with the goal, then I need to build a strategy on negotiations. Why I should get this 300K budget, right? You build your information around there because there's opportunity. When I do this marketing program, by using this marketing budget, I'm going to get this result, right? Then from there, you can even build in terms of being creative, in terms of what are some of the ideas behind and what are some of the options, right, that we can make this happen, that we can negotiate. So number 1 is be very, very clear with your negotiation goal, right? Not only your own, but you also have to think about your counterpart. What is their goal? In negotiation, it's always like that. You think both sides because you need to understand yourself. You need to understand the counterpart, okay? So now, when you talk about goals, right, there are a few things you need to know, right? I think there are some people, inexperienced or non-skillful negotiator, they go in with just an opening offer, okay? They go in with an opening position, a single point, right? And that is not the right way. In negotiations, a very skillful negotiator, right, they actually have a negotiation zone, right? They don't fix on a single point. For example, if I want to offer my clients a product, I do not just fix on my goal is I want to sell at 100 ringgit, right? But I always have a zone. It's important to have this zone. So the zone is actually a skill, okay, that move between accept and delight, okay? As this, every point along this skill is a winner. Accept, it basically means that, what is my walk away point? What is the minimum I must achieve? You must put down, what is the minimum I must achieve, okay? And anything below this, you're going to walk away, right? And you set as few as possible, right? Okay, so this is the essential. And the other extreme point is the delight. And this is where this is the best possible outcome that you can get, right? What is the best result that you can get? What you could have achieved in the best result. And that also influenced by the customer condition and also the business situations, right? Let me take, for example, let's say glove, right? All the, with COVID-19, the glove prices went up, right? The face mask also prices went up. So under this kind of situations, the supplier on this face mask or even glove, they can command price. So when they negotiate with the customer, they can actually have a very high optimum price, the best possible price, because it's influenced by the customer needs, okay, and also influenced by the situation. And the middle point is actually on the desirable point. And this is something that what we expect to achieve. The most likely end point that we're going to end up with, right? So again, skillful negotiators, they don't just set one point goal. They set a skill of negotiation goal. And they always focus on 3 points. My walk away, right? Anything below my essential is my walk away point. The second one is what is the best possible outcome. If I can get this, I can go and celebrate. It's the best possible outcome I can get. And the third point is basically desirable, okay? What I expect to get based on previous transactions, based on previous history, based on the most likely situation. So in the whole zone, right, if you want to do this, you need to focus on these 3 areas, okay? These 3 points, right? So let me ask you a question here, just some engagement activity now, right? If you got to set your negotiation zone, your 3 points, which one would you set first? Will you set essential point first, desirable or optimum point first? Which one would you set? Can I get some response from the chat groups? Which point would you set first? Do you think we should set first? Optimum? Okay. Desirable? Okay. Can I have a few more response? Okay. Thank you. Right. Okay. The thing is this, when you want to set your negotiation goal, always set your desirable first, okay? Because desirable is what you expect to achieve, and there are many reference points that you can use. Take, for example, if I want to sell my house, right, I will be able to find out my desirable point by looking at past house transaction price, right? By looking at by talking to different agents, how much the houses around this area are sold in the last month. So it will be very easy for me to set it. Okay, so I will set this point first based on past reference. Then from there, then I will look at my essential, then optimum point. Okay, so you should do this. But again, if you want to open your offer, let's say I want to sell a house, I set my 3 points. I open my offer, I always open my optimum point. Okay, so in the full negotiation training, we're also going to cover things like how you give and take, how are you going to open your offer, how are you going to counter your offer, right? But we are not going to cover that at these sessions. So again, when we talk about setting the 3 points, right, you need to consider your counterpart as well, right? Always consider your counterpart. And there's always an overlap one. When there's overlap, that means you guys will start talking, okay? But again, if you set your goal too high, let's say you set your best possible outcome too high, you open your price too high, what's going to happen, right? The person will think that no point to go into the discussion because there is no potential agreement zone, right? Let me give you an example. Okay, recently I wanted to renovate my condo, right? To rent out. So I actually asked for 2 quotes. Okay, one uncle, he actually quote me, let's say for example, let's say he quote me 10,000, okay, to do all the condo, right? So this 10,000 is actually still within my essential, within my zone, okay? But I got another contractor who quote me 15,000, almost 40–50% difference, right? So it's completely out of my zone because my walk away points, right, is about 10,000. So when they quote too high, we are actually not in the talking already. We don't need to negotiate. I will walk away right away because there is no potential agreement zone. That's why one of the key things about setting your goal, right? You need to be aware your optimum goal, the highest possible goal that you set, the opening price that you're setting, it has to be defendable. It has to be high. Okay, if not, you may end up with no negotiations. So guys, this is just a quick example. If let's say I want to ask for marketing budget, right, of 250K, this could be my optimum. My desirable may be 200K. My essential can be 100K, but I want to ask for reshuffle expenses across my department. So this is just a quick example of how you can set your 3 goals. Any question on this? Right? If no questions, the second tips that I would like to share with you is actually focus on interest, right? You need to identify what is your and your counterpart interest. Very important, right? So there are different between position and interest. Position is something that what they say they want. For example, I use, if I want to sell something, okay, I want to sell at 100 ringgit. That is a position. I say I want 100 ringgit, okay? But so position is a surface statement of a person's stand, and it doesn't provide you insight about what drive the 100 ringgit, what is the interest behind, okay? Whereas interest is basically why they want it, okay? It's the person underlying reason, values, and motivation. It explains with someone why someone take a position, right? So we need to be clear why someone want to take that position. That is interest. And let me give you an example. Okay? If let's say one day I wake up at night, okay, I feel hungry. I want to eat a pizza that is left behind from this afternoon lunch, for example. There's a left behind pizza, and at night I feel hungry, I want to eat the pizza. My position is I want to eat the pizza, okay? But as I go downstairs, I open the fridge, my son finished the whole pizza already, because you know grown-up kids, they eat everything in the fridge, right? So pizza is gone, okay? So what is my interest now? My interest is actually because I'm hungry, right? My interest is I want to stop my hunger. So by knowing the interest, I can eat other things. I can eat Maggi mee, I can eat bread, I can eat biscuit, right? So the position is I want to eat pizza. But the interest behind is I'm actually hungry. I just want to stop the hungriness, right? So in negotiation, it's very important to identify interest. If you cannot identify the great interest, your negotiation will not go smooth. You may not close the deal, right? You may get stuck. And it's not possible to have very creative solution as well. Okay? In view of the time, I will just skip that example. So any questions or not on interest? Any questions? Position interest is a very important difference, right? When a person say, I want high price, you need to understand why the person want high price. It could be because they have limited budget. It could be because personal needs, right? They want to be seen as a effective negotiator. So you really need to understand the interest behind why someone wants something. Okay? And the third tips I'm going to share with you is always be prepared is what happens if negotiation fails. So what alternative you have? And this is called BATNA. You need to prepare your BATNA. BATNA stands for best alternative to no agreement. Okay? In short, you must have your alternative ready. And the purpose of doing that is to prevent you to accept bad deal. Because if you do not have your BATNA, your alternative, you are at the other person's mercy. Okay? They can really squeeze you. You may end up accept a deal that is not to your advantage. So let me give you an example, right, on BATNA by using day-to-day example. Okay, I told you I have a condo I wanted to renovate. The whole reason is I wanted to renovate to sell, for example, because with a better price, okay? But now it's not a bad time to sell. So when I negotiate with a buyer, my need is, my one is I want to sell the condo. But should the buyer offer me a very bad deal, okay, I do not want to accept. I will be in a higher power not to accept when I have a good alternative. So what is my BATNA if I'm not able to sell my condo because the buyer giving me very low price? My alternative can be do A and B. My alternative can be rent it out. Okay. My alternative can even be leave it empty, give my auntie to stay. Right? So the more alternative you have, the more power you have. Right? And you protect yourself from accepting bad deals. So again, it's very important. You must have your alternative, your BATNA on hand. Any questions on BATNA? So how do you build your BATNA is by looking back at your negotiation goal, right? My negotiation goal is I want to sell the condo, right? So if I want to sell the condo, I want to get the money, right, for something, right? So that is my goal. And now, from there, I will look at all the alternatives that I have. If let's say I'm not able to sell my condo at the price that I want, okay, the essential goal, the walk away point, I cannot meet my walk away point, I will keep my condo. But more alternative, I will list down 3, 4 alternatives. Then from there, I will select the best alternative and work on it. Okay. At the same time, I will probably be start asking about how to do B&B. Right. At the same time, I will probably renovate the condo based on the B&B setup. Right. So again, you need to prepare your best alternative, not only on the paper, but you need to make it workable so that you have more power. Okay. The second tip is actually ask questions. This is very important. Ask questions for a few purposes. First thing, when you ask questions, you can uncover their interest. Okay. Because when you go into negotiations, you already have certain information. You already anticipate what the person wants, what the person needs are, but you may not have everything. So you ask questions to find out things that you don't know and to confirm things that you already know. So very important to ask questions. And you don't ask questions without a sense of directions, because if you randomly ask questions, right, people may get irritated. Why are you asking so many things? Where are you heading? And it may not build trust. So when you ask questions in negotiation, I call it negotiators probe. You ask with a purpose, okay? And the purpose is to help you to identify the real interest. You help the other party to join you in problem solve, in explore options, okay? And you test assumption to make the unknown into known, okay? So very important to ask questions, open questions, but good questions that direct to these 3 areas, right? So what are some of the good questions that you can ask? For example, you know, this is just some example, right? Well, why are you feeling this way? May I ask? Do you feel this? What concern do you have? So all these are questions that you can ask. Okay. And the other thing good about asking questions is it can help you to unlock the deadlock, right? This is common, like in a negotiation, right? You may have your counterpart to say that, hey, I see no reason to discuss this further. I'm sorry, it's our company's policy, it's out of my hand. It sounds like a deadlock, right? So the best way for you to unlock the situations, right, is by asking questions, okay? And you can ask questions like, okay, it seems like important to you. Can you help me to understand which part of the company policy put a stop on this? This is just an example. So always remember, in the negotiations, if your counterpart gives you objections, if you feel this is the deadlock, you see it as an invitation to probe. The minute you ask questions, you engage your counterpart, and you can help to open up the situation again. Okay? Okay, the tips number 3 is basically create values by exploring options. Because once you identify the other person's interest, okay, this is where you need to start to give your offer. You bargain about your offer. So how do we bargain effectively is by being creative to look at different options. And there are 2 questions you need to ask. You need to ask yourself in the planning, right? In the planning state, you already need to do. What are the variables that I could be exchanged during negotiation to ensure your goals are achieved? What can I give? What can I take? You need to identify a list of the things that you can give and take. And what are the variables that are low cost to you but high values to them? Okay, this is very important because you don't simply give things, you know, right? And you choose what you want to give. So what do we choose what to give? We choose things that is low cost to you, but high values to the others. Right? I mean, let me give you an example. Let me give you an example. Okay. I'm in the training business. Okay. And in any business, people negotiate with you on pricing. Right? So when I see my potential customers, sometimes they will say, okay, your rate is very expensive, you know, can you reduce your rate further? But to me, I will not easily give in the concessions because that pricing variable is very important. But if I do not negotiate, I may end up losing the deal. So I need to think about what are some of the variables I can give and take. I need that. And one of the things I can look at is, okay, things that is low cost to me but high values to my client, what could be that? For example, maybe my time, okay, is low cost to me but high values to them. Or maybe my expertise on certain area, okay, it low cost to me but high values to them, right? So I may offer in terms of, okay, right, my price, you know, because there's a market price for it, I will not be able to go down. However, you know, I can provide support in consultation on on certain area of follow-up 1 hour sessions, right? That could be on low cost to me, but high values to them, okay? So you need to consider that. Okay, so this is just one example, okay? For example, this girl who is a customer, he said, okay, I don't agree with this unless you give me a price discount, okay? Otherwise, my margin will not be improved and the deal will not work for me. But if I'm the other counterpart, I do not want to reduce my price, okay? But how do I do it, right? Because it's a deadlock, one high, one low. And what they do, what the seller can do is they can ensure they can deliver high service by increase the frequency of delivery, show ready package, and maybe to participate in the marketing activity. So the things that are highlighted here are things that he can give. Low cost to the seller, but high value to the buyer. These are variables that you need to exchange. It's the same thing, you know, even in your negotiation with your internal customer. For example, if you want to negotiate with a higher, with one additional headcount from your HR, and the HR say, no, I cannot give you the headcount, right? Because our headcount is fixed. So how do you negotiate, right? First, you need to identify what is the interest behind, okay? Right, the interest behind the HR is actually want to maintain the headcount number because that cannot be moved, right? Then you have to think about what you can ask, variables that you can give. The variable I can ask, for example, okay, for example, right? Maybe not a headcount, maybe I can ask for a contract field force. Maybe I can ask for another department's 30% time help. So you need to identify a list of variables that you can give and take, right? I find a lot of time people do not spend enough time to prepare this, right? That's why when it comes to give and take bargaining, they got stuck. They run out of ideas, you know. So this is very important part of planning. So this is where, you know, I call it conditional trading, right? You always ask for something before you offer something else, okay? In negotiation, very important. Look at your negotiation goal, what you want to achieve. If the counterpart do not agree, okay, they want to ask something else, always ask for something in return, right? This is a golden rule in negotiation. So the ways to go about it is using simple technique. If you, then I. You ask. If you do give me this, then I will do that. All right. So that is a way to protect you from walk away the negotiations or protect you from not getting the deals that are satisfactions. Okay. So I would like to show you one simple example to demonstrate this. You want to negotiate with your boss. You have been very busy recently. You're working on a few pieces proposal, which need to be submitted by the customer by next week. But at the same time, you also need to do competitor benchmark. At the same time, you're also on the task for HR project. You don't have time, but your boss asks you to go, maybe not Sabah, maybe Penang, asks you to go Penang tomorrow. Okay. So guys, in normal situations, this will be the conversation it will look like. Can I ask you to go to Sabah? Boss, I cannot lah. I'm so many things on my hand. The boss may say, I wish it could be different, but it's urgent. You may need to squeeze it and let me know how it goes. So if this guy is not a skillful negotiator, what it will happen? He will give in and say, okay lah, I have to go. Right? So this is a typical situation of a non-skillful negotiator who are not looking at options. Right? So in summary, this conversation, it doesn't have to be that way. Let me show you another way of how you can use conditional trading. Right? It's the same conversations. I need you to be in Sabah tomorrow. Well, it sounds like a good priority, but you know I'm working on a few projects. This is where he applied the skill now, okay? Can you do this? Assign an intern to assist me on the proposal and alert the vendor that I need a person to assist with the collection. So he said, yes, I can do it. What if you do this for me, isn't it? What if you give me an intern? The boss may say, still no, I cannot give you intern. Then you explore again, what if? Yes, if. Well, if the intern is not able to help, can I go 2 days later? The boss may still say, well, no. Then again, you should try again by using yes, if. Okay, then can you assign someone on the meetings task force? Then it may work. So this is just a simple illustration on how negotiation can be made by using negotiation skill. And the skill that I'm sharing with you now is on conditional trading, right? Yes, if, right? You do not simply give in and you only will give something to get something back, okay? And the things that you give, it should focus on low cost to you, but high values to the others, okay? So guys, any questions? I finished my last slide on my training. Any questions on the 3 tips on negotiation? Number 1, you have to plan negotiation goal, plan for your partner, and the other one is also the tip is on asking questions, as well as you create values by explore options. Any questions? Any questions? So guys, if no questions, right? I mean, this is just my summary slide. Negotiation skill is an essential skill for personal as well as business outcome. It will help you, it will help the business. And it's a process skill that can be learned, right? Just now for 50% of people who feel they are not so comfortable with negotiation skill, it can be learned. That's the good news. And negotiation planning is important. Always spend time to plan. Always focus on interest, but not the decision. And you need to be creative in explore options. All right. So now, just last word that I would like to get a quick pull. Knowing what is negotiation skill, right? How do you rate your current negotiation skill competency level? Okay. Can you share your view? How do you assess your current competency on negotiation skill? Okay. Okay, I will be closing the poll in 30 seconds. For those who have not voted, can you take the 30 seconds to vote? Okay. Okay, I got a comment here. Sometimes I feel language barrier is an issue to me. Okay, right. Again, I think it will boil down into planning. Okay. Let's say, for example, there is a major negotiation going on. I will actually plan using a negotiation planner to plan my whole negotiation, right? From my negotiation goal into my negotiation strategy, into even how to talk and what question to anticipate, right? So I will plan all these things. So if you already plan how you want to communicate, right? From your strategy, you plan your communication skill, then you can actually rehearse before you go into the negotiations, right? And that is one way, you know, for you to overcome that language barrier. Okay. Okay. So guys, okay, we have more than 80% of the people, right, that's actually indicate that they are from low to intermediate in terms of negotiation skill, right? So my take is this: if you rate a self-intermediate and below in terms of the negotiation skill, there's a great opportunities. There's a great opportunity for you to enhance your skill, you know, by attend full structured negotiation training. Because what you have here today is actually just a quick overview in terms of some of the tips on negotiations. You do not have a chance to practice. You do not have the chance to work on the process itself, right? So I will probably urge you, you know, to look into attending some sort of structured negotiation skill training. If you need any of those, you know, I think you can get to iTraining. iTraining will be able to help you. And in view on the current market situations, right, now we thought the COVID-19 cases have stabilized down, the curve has flattened, but now it go up again. So again, the business is going to be tough. And why I'm going to run I'm going to run a one-day training, online training on how do you successfully sell during the crisis, okay? So this is basically a one-day online training workshop. If you're interested, you can actually contact iTraining. And guys, you know, I want to highlight one thing, right? During the crisis, the way that we sell is different, okay? It's very important for us to sell in a way that is customer focused, right? And this is the time, if you can work with the customer well, if you can demonstrate that you understand the business, you are able to come here to help them, right? You are able to build a long-term relationship with your client. This is the time for you to win your clients, okay? So in this particular one-day training, I'm going to focus on business crisis and selling, okay? And I'm going to focus a lot in terms of how do you really understand your customer during this crisis time? And how are you going to position your deal in such a way that, you know, it can help your clients in the business, okay? And of course, you know, how to gain commitment and objections, right? So this training is actually customized, you know, during this time, all right? So if you're interested, you know, please feel free to contact iTraining. And if you want to attend negotiation training more in-depth workshop, this is where I will cover in the full training workshop in terms of negotiation planning, a whole process of how you identify interest, create values, set your goal. We will talk very more in-depth in terms of negotiation goal, negotiation power, and how do you even give your offer, counter offer. Then we talk about negotiation executions, right? How do you probe, right? How do you give and take? Okay, so this will be the full session of our negotiation training for 1 to 2 days, right? Depends on the organization needs. Okay, so I think Sue, over to you.
Thank you very much. Thank you so much, guys. Can you give her a big clap? Thank you for your 1 hour of input on negotiation skills. You have got a lot of participation, so we are very, very pleased. Thank you so much for your participation.
Just one more question I want to answer. Ginger, you mentioned about ask the question on, do you think have a good negotiation emotional control is a must? Yes, it is. Okay, because of the time I couldn't cover that part. A good negotiator is calm, you know, and they are able to control their emotion very well, right? Because some, especially in give and take, you know, during the bargaining phase, the environment can be hostile, right? Because you cannot control the other party, you know. Well, you want to play the right negotiation tactics, the right skill, right? Your counterpart may bring in dirty tricks. They may purposely upset you, you know, they may be so unreasonable. So it's very important to exercise the emotion control. Yeah. And that will be covered in the training as well, on the full trainings. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Any more questions?
Yeah, Ginger say thank you to you, Manny. Yeah.
Thank you.
Says thank you. Hing Chong say thank you as well. Thank you very much for attending our 1-hour course. If you'd like to have more information, please click on the link that is provided. We have an upcoming seminar on the 3rd of November. It's going to be online. This is an opportunity for you to actually learn how to sell even better, yeah, during crisis. It is already a crisis. So why not take this opportunity to actually spend your one day with Winnie to get more input on how you can negotiate better and improve the way you what do you call it, talk to people, especially holding on to your emotional what do you call it, having a better emotional control, your high EQ. Yeah, she has got a lot of experience throughout her 20 over years of being what do you call it, in the corporate world. So there are heaps of things that she needs to negotiate, and just throw to her what are your issues. Yeah, Ryan Shun, he will send you the more information by email definitely. Ryan says he has already given us the Gmail. Tracy says thank you to you, Winnie. So thank you so much. We're going to have see you again on the 3rd of if you have any things that you would like us to cover, or you'd like us to uh, itrainingexpert.com. All right. So if you have no more questions, then we will actually say goodbye to you now.
Okay.
We'll see you again some other time in some other some other time where CITOS actually organizes other seminars and also webinars for the subscribers. Thank you so much. Bye-bye. Ginger says bye-bye. Thank you, Winnie. Good job.
Okay, thank you.
Nice to meet you guys, Danielle. Thank you.
And stay safe, guys, when you go out there. Yeah.
Tracy, GN Law 0. Let's take a photo. Let's take a photo. Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. Yeah. Bye now. Bye-bye.
Good man. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Miss Winnie. Bye.
Bye.